What up, guys? Yeah, we've got another Oktoberfest beer going on today. And this one is from a brewery I don't believe I've had before. It's from Ninkasi Brewing Company out of Eugene, Oregon. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. But Eugene, fabulous college town. I love that college town. It's a lot of the ones I've been to. It's one of my favorites. So anyways, I'm going to crack this open. We'll get to pouring. And just FYI, this particular beer, so it's got a 5.5% ABV, which is a hair lower than average, but it has a 40 IBU. That, by far, is the highest IBU level that I've had for any of the Oktoberfest beers thus far. So we might be approaching subtle, almost IPA level of bitterness. But I'm interested to check it out. This is probably the smallest, furthest away microbrewery that got to me. This is the last final American-made Oktoberfest beer I will be trying. And if I missed some, I apologize. I totally I scoured the entire region, and I got every single Oktoberfest beer I could find. So if I didn't get to craft beer or anything like that around you, I apologize, but either places near me just didn't buy them, or I don't know what happened. But this is the furthest away. This is the smallest furthest away. I mean, I think technically the furthest would be Bell's, but that's a big brewery. Ninkasi, I don't believe, is a largely distributed. But anyways, got that poured. It is a nice golden, very clear beer. But anyways, let's get into the review, get into the smell. Not much on aroma. It's going to be one of those beers. Yeah, I'm getting very little in the way of aroma from it. There's maybe almost like a subtle, very slight, faint graininess to it, but there is not much going on. A little bit of I think I'm picking up a little bit of like a malted barleyness thing going on, but there's not much in the way of aroma. I'm getting very minimal notes on this, and so I'm gonna give it a half on aroma. There's just not much to go off of. It doesn't smell funky, it doesn't smell bad. There's just not much in the way of aroma to go off of. But let's see what taste does, and so let's get into the taste. Yep, that bitterness is very upfront. That's really the first thing you taste. Initially, it's almost like a cleaner IPA. It doesn't have a lot of the piney or grapefruity or any of those kinds of different hoppy notes to it. It's just bitter. There's very subtle smokiness to it. There's a very subtle smoky maltiness to it. There's very little, very light on that. I think that is one of the risks you run when you make a beer higher with the IBUs. I mean, 40 isn't extremely high, but for this particular style, it's about 15 to 20 IBUs higher than what you're normally going to get. And so I think that bitterness hides and masks some of the other flavors that you want from an Oktoberfest beer. There is All right, I picked up a little more of that. Now that my mouth is getting a little more acquainted and accustomed to the bitterness, I did pick up a little more of the maltiness, but there's still not a lot. For me, I think it's a little too bitter for this style. It's kind of either it's not even there or it's masking the other kind of Oktoberfest things you'd like, because it's strange. Even though it's bitter, it's a very clean beer. There's not a lot of surprise flavors. It's very kind of on the nose, to the point. It's just I don't know. It's not really doing it for me, to be perfectly honest. There's really nothing about it that really says Oktoberfest to me. Like there's a hair of that kind of maltiness, and you do get more of that once you're used to the bitterness. You do get more of that, but still, it just doesn't have that the roasted nutty flavor. It doesn't have that like molassesy sweetness to it. It just doesn't have those kinds of things you want really from Oktoberfest beer. It almost seems like, and I've found this with a number of breweries, especially very small ones, you end up coming up with a list of IPAs that you've made and tweaked over the last year or whatever, and you almost just kind of put out an IPA for that seasonal. So, we don't want to have that. We'll put that IPA kind of fits that. Put that out. We'll put that out. I found that happens a lot, where since IPA is so popular that it almost gets pumped out for certain seasonal beers when it's not really that seasonal, or it's not that. Like an IPA is not an Oktoberfest beer. That's really what this is. Kind of feels like a lighter IPA that was forced, round peg, square hole, kind of just forced into that. That's what it tastes like. It's just, it really doesn't check off many of my Oktoberfest check marks at all. And, I like that it's maybe I'm not correct to assume this is a small brewery, because it is coming from Oregon and reaching Arizona, so it must have an okay distribution market, because I'm assuming it probably hits Washington and Idaho and Nevada and that, but it probably hits the whole West Coast. So maybe this is a wider distributed beer than I'm thinking. I haven't checked the distribution at this point, but it just, the previous thought of was most of the craft beers that the local kind of brew pubs I've been to, they haven't done any Oktoberfest beers. And so if this is just a small company, then I like they kind of at least dabbled in it. But the distribution's probably larger than I'm thinking, and I don't even know if you could really say they dabbled in it, because there's just nothing about it to me that's saying Oktoberfest. It's just I don't know if they call it Oktoberfest style lager. They don't use the word Martin at all on it. So I just, and I'm wondering, I'm just kind of talking out loud at this point. Part of me wonders if this is just a brewery that is owned by InBev now, because it doesn't have that, upside down bottle, the craft bottle logo on it. It has, most places that are still independent, they throw that logo on. This doesn't have it. So I'm starting to wonder if this is an InBev beer, basically. And if that's the case, it does kind of taste like InBev does a craft Oktoberfest beer, which I've had some of those already, which is like, it just doesn't really check off the boxes. So I'm not going to recommend this on taste. It just doesn't, there's nothing about it really says Oktoberfest to me. So I'm not going to recommend it on taste. By price, yeah, you know, it was like $2, $2.25 for a craft beer. It's fair price, so I'll recommend it for by price. Distinction, I mean, it's distinct. It's, I mean, I'll give it that, but I don't think it's distinct in a very good way. Not saying Oktoberfest can't have a higher IBU. That's not what I'm saying. It's just there's certain elements of the Oktoberfest beer that you want that make it that Oktoberfest beer, that maltiness, that like nutty smokiness to it, those kind of elements that you want in an Oktoberfest beer, because you only have that beer for a month. I got all year to drink an IPA. I don't want an IPA for Oktoberfest, but I feel like they're forcing you to drink an IPA for Oktoberfest, and that's bad distinction to me. It's like, save this for some other time, or just don't release it. Like, okay, so sometimes like you make a food recipe, you go to a restaurant, like it's okay, but it doesn't fit with your lineup. Then wait. There'll be another time. So I just like it just doesn't, I don't know. So it's distinct, but not in a good way for me, so I'm not going to recommend that on distinction. It's just, I'd rather have a run-of-the-mill Oktoberfest beer that tastes like an Oktoberfest beer than just like forcing a different style. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. That is not what I'm looking for. All right, next category is drinkability, and I mean, there was almost like a pilsnery wateriness to it. It's like, this feels just like a bunch of just strange, you're pulling like a bunch of weird different beers that have no connection with each other and throwing them together to make this. And so I feel like with each sip I just have something else to complain about. I don't want a beer that I'm complaining about the entire time. I want something that I can just be like, yes, work sucked today. I'm just gonna drink this and enjoy. I mean, maybe you could do that, but I just feel like there's too many things going on that shouldn't be going together. And so, I mean, drinkability, it's okay. I'll give it a half. It drinks like okay, but so yeah, I'll give it a half. And all right, last category is word by again, and no, there's nothing about it that's drawing me to it. I was interested when I saw the higher IBUs. I didn't even notice until I was bringing it out from the fridge that, oh, this one's higher. I like that it told me that. I like that it says the IBUs. I feel like all beers should. So I knew what to expect, but it's just, for me, it's not like anything about it says Oktoberfest to me. So I'm just I have no need for it. Like, I have no need for a lighter IPA masquerading as an Oktoberfest beer. If I want one or the other, I'm going to go with one or the other. I'm not going to go with this. So I'm not going to buy it again. But that is my not the most glowing review of Ninkasi Brewing Company's Oktoberfest, a seasonal release. What do you think? Have you had this before? Have you had any Oktoberfest beers where you drink it and you're just like, this is not Oktoberfest beer. You just slap the label on it. Have you had any of those? Have you noticed that a lot of, especially certain local craft beers, they will market certain beers as a seasonal, but really it's just an IPA with a different label on it. Like, I find that all the time. And it's like, just put a different IPA on your tap. Don't call it a seasonal, because it's not. But anyways, that's the review. I got one beer left in this series of Oktoberfest beers, so stay tuned. And so for myself and for Ninkasi Brewing Company's Oktoberfest,